Joe, I don't mean to interrupt your breathing exercise, but what are you doing?
You know what I'm doing. I'm box breathing. It's an awesome technique. You do it.
Yeah, I know about box breathing. Box breathing is great. You know, breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold, breathe in 4 counts, hold 4 counts, breathe out 4 counts, hold 4 counts. It's a great exercise and it helps with your mental capacity for dealing with change and even recognizing some changes that you need to make. But that's not why folks are tuned in. They're tuned in to get book recommendations on mental shifts. So why don't you give them the first book that you picked and introduce a little bit about the show?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for keeping me on track. This month is completely focused on, being courageous as leaders, and understanding that leaders are throughout the organization in many different levels, but we want to be courageous and then also future thinking. So we're going to introduce, our books for this month. This is our Read This series, which is a part of our One Thing series. And we each, like TJ has a book that he will recommend, and I have a book I will recommend. And so with that said, I picked an awesome book that I love. Honestly, I haven't read it in a little while, but I absolutely love it. It is How to Stop Worrying and Start Living by Dale Carnegie. Most people know of Dale Carnegie's work with How to Win Friends and Influence People. Also a must read. This gem, though, also sold over 6 million copies. And there's a few things I like about this book. First off, he has some tried and true techniques that really help you stop worrying. So if we're talking about courage, why would we talk about worry? Well, very often when we focus on change, when we focus on driving our organization further and going and achieving our mission and vision, it is normal to worry. And so in this book, he takes some awesome things, out there. The first is live in day tight compartments. Don't get too far ahead of yourself. I love that. We have featured that in Passionate Leadership. Another suggestion is detail what's the worst that could happen. I actually really like that because a lot of time, remember, fear is false evidence appearing real. And so when we really journal out what could happen, it's not as bad as it seems. And then come to grips with it. All right, so this is what really could happen and settle it. And he describes a whole new energy you'll be living with. And also he quotes Marcus Aurelius through this book. You won't be disappointed. I am sure of it.
I really like that book too. And I like that concept about kind of thinking about what the worst thing is that could happen. Because oftentimes when we can outline that in our head, we realize that there's almost no way that that's going to happen. And even if it does, it might not actually be that bad. So cool stuff. Dale Carnegie, check it out. I picked for my one book this month, Joe, The Power of One More by Ed Mylett. And the subtitle is The Ultimate Guide to Happiness and Success. And I really love this book. Now, this is a newer book by Ed Mylett. So he's out there on the circuit. You can check out a number of podcasts. Our last podcast guest, Ryan Hawk, actually had Ed Mylett on the show. So you can kind of get a glimpse of that. We've linked to some of his content in our recent blog. But really, he talks about the power of perseverance, pushing forward. What I like about each section of the book, each chapter, is that it gives tips and tools to leaders of thinking differently about how they do things and how they approach their day, their time. Time, for example, he breaks everything down in terms of his day from 6 to 12, 12 to 6, and then 6 to 12 again, right? So he's actually talking about working 3 individual days within one day, and that's why he's a powerhouse. You got to pick that up. The real essence of this is just taking it the next step, going the extra mile. Ed Mylett does that for you in the book. And so you can grab this one as well. Joe, is there a tip?
There is. That is a phenomenal book. We both enjoyed that. Like TJ said, it was just released. You won't be disappointed. But what we wanted to do this month is provide you with 2 books that really have spanned, a number of years apart. This was copyright 1945. That's copyright, I guess, 2022.
Probably.
So, that said, don't forget the old, but also don't dismiss the new. Ed Milet in that piece, he admits that goal setting has been overdone, overplayed, but he adds an element to it that makes you rethink goal setting. And sometimes we have found it's just that little bit of difference when somebody says something that could make all the difference. So don't forget the old and don't abandon the old, but also, look to the new because it might have some just a new element that resonate with you and you'll really enjoy.
Yeah, it's so true. And we're really focused on mental shifts, the mind, changing your mind is a superpower. Ryan Hawk told us that. And just our ability to think about things differently, partially because we did research and released our new book, 7 Mind Shifts for School Leaders, Finding New Ways to Think About Old Problems. So we'd love for you to check that out as well. As always, you can find us at theschoolhouse302.com for podcasts, books to read, blog posts, and more. This has been an awesome Read This series, part of our One Thing series. Again, theschoolhouse302.com. We hope to see you there.